we do have the board. I don't know if you have any initial comments on the board here. Trek, I'll let you start there, and we'll see where we go. So it should be fun.
Yeah, what I see from the start is that there is not a lot of wheat. The best number is the 4 wheat. There's also the 11, the 3, and the 12. That makes wheat, although it's already, like, there's always demand for wheat in the game, no matter how the board looks like. So all people will always try to trade for that. And it makes it so that you want to be able to settle on wheat. And also because there is quite a lot of ore. There are 2 9 ore spots and a 4 ore spot. In terms of production, it's also really important. I'd say the 5, 6, 9 at the bottom of the map and the 3, 6, 9 at the top left of the map are really interesting spot as a first settlement. Generally, I really like resource diversity and having production at the start and having rare resources as well. None of these spots takes a wheat spot into account, so I think we'll have a really interesting board with the potential for all players to get a good setup. Where would you place first, Yellow?
Yeah, I think you mentioning the low wheat here being a pretty strong issue on this board. YoungNaijah does place first and decides to take the 8-4-3. I think that is the best position overall. I think the one challenge with the 8-4-3 here is that you just don't have a 3-for-1 that's easily available to the shoreline there. You have the ore port, and so you're having to build the extra road, and then when you get there, you're only on the 3 wood. So that's the only downside of that position. You do get the strong wheat. So I do like that position, but there are a couple of places I think that if you're not looking for wheat, the 5, 6, 9, as Vamos is looking at here, I think we're looking at it from his screen perspective. The 5, 6, 9 is a good spot. I think also, if I'm looking at some other spots, maybe the 8-4-3 or the something like that. Those would be my thoughts right now.
Yeah, so you're talking about the 8-4-3 on the right side of the board, I assume. Yeah, I don't see any other.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was thinking maybe YoungNaijah expect the 9 to 10 with the ore and the 2 wood spots to be left open, and then he'd have a brick board available to him as well, although it's quite risky because there's an 8-5-10 nearby, so he might be cut off to that brick board, so might not be as valuable, but that could be a way to get all 5 resources in quite a good balance as well. So Farmers Cosmos is next up to pick, and he's hovering over a lot of spots, including the 5, 6, 9. Okay, it seems like he's gonna go with the rare wheat spot. I like this, but the thing I find really difficult to value about the board is like you leave open so many high producing spots for 3rd and 4th position. Like 5, 6, 9 is still open, 3, 6, 9 is still open, and 5, 8, 10 is still open. 4th position will be able to combine 2 of these spots. Do you think this 9 for 11 is good enough to justify that decision?
Yeah, it's an interesting play. I think Vamos is really valuing the wheat here. It's tough to say. I mean, the production is just pretty low, but also by taking that spot, you're also leaving higher production spots open as well, as you said. So he may be looking to get the higher production spot on the 2nd, which may not be as good, but it may be good enough to support that, right? So if you're looking at something like that pairs well with that, he's looking at a potential, strong or wheat combination. So he's going to probably need to get sheep, which the 6-9-2 or the 6-3-9 or the 6-3-11 or the 6-11-12. I don't think the 6-5-9 is going to be available, which also is going to take away the 6-9-12. So I don't know where he's looking to potentially go with this. I think he may think 6-9-2 gets taken, and he can maybe get on like a good wood brick combination, which would be like the 8-3. Well, that's going to get taken now. So so I'm interested to see how Vamos is going to play his 2nd placement here, because I think that's going to be tough if he's not able to get a good sheep position. So we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, I do expect there to be a good sheep position left because Not everyone wants to settle on a good sheep number from the start, and there are a lot of high sheep numbers, like there are 2 6s and an 8, and well, the 11 could also work within the Orvid sheep. You don't necessarily need the highest sheep number to make it work. So this 8 10 3, you get a good wood, good brick, so maybe you can make strong road building strategy with this, and you set up for a combination with either the 6 9 3 or the 5 6 11. So in the case Cytmike doesn't take both of these spots, you have a really strong setup with this 10 8 3. However, I could see him actually just picking both and playing without wheat here. You have some good boards available on the 3 6 9, and just with playing with so much production makes it very strong, even if you're playing without the rarest resource, and even if you're playing without wheat.
Yeah, where do you go here in fourth? I'm just kind of curious, if you were playing this board, what would you do? I think I have an idea of what I would do, but I'm just curious your thoughts.
I think you do want to start with a little bit of wheat. It's not that important, but I think maybe 5 6 11 6 9 3 would be an option, but you'd have a lot of sheep, and sheep is not valuable at all. So maybe 6 3 11 5 9 10. So the double wheat and the double brick with the ore spot. So that would be an option. Like I'm trying to also figure out how the other players don't get too many strong setups. You probably don't want to leave open the 6 9 3 for third position for a gum. So, but you also don't want to leave open this 5 6 9. So you have to take either one of these spots and block the other. As that's what my first thoughts were with 5 6 11 3 6 9. But that might not work because you have too much sheep. So yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So let me ask you this: what are your thoughts on the 6 3 11 getting taken? So let's say he does play the 6 9 3 and the 5 6 9. Do you think he could build up to the 6 3 11 and essentially place on that? Because if you look at the other placements, blue already has sheep and wheat. Green has pretty strong wheat, so I don't think he would play the 6 3 11. And then gray already has the 3. He could potentially have a better sheep in other places. So if he places the 5 6 9 and the maybe 6 9 3 and builds up to the 6 11 3, do you think that's safe, or do you think someone else takes that just to block him from wheat?
I think someone else will block him from wheat by taking, and that player would be green, placing on the 6 3 11 with the double sheep spot and place towards the sheep board. Okay, so 5 6 9. This could go with a lot of spots. Yeah, he's taking his time. I like it. It's a final, so just take all the time you need to make as good of a decision as possible. So he could do 3 6 9 here with the double sheep towards the sheep board. There's not a lot of wood either, so maybe that will be difficult to get on. Also, don't expect many players to place on a high wood spot, so that will be difficult to trade for. If not many players have the good wood spot, then they won't trade you the wood either. So yeah, where would you place the second settlement yellow?
Yeah, I think if I was playing this, I don't think green takes 3 6 11, honestly, because yes, it's another sheep spot. It's more wheat. I think I don't know. Maybe so. Maybe you're right. I think it's potentially a risk going up, but I think if he places on the 6 9 2 6 9 3 here, going without wheat. Especially if green does go 6 3 11, then you're able to trade him for wheat there. I think if I'm in this spot and I've already put down the 5 6 9, I think I have to find something that places well with that. So I think I have to place. So you have a strong brick and a pretty decent sheep, which is just a tough combination. I almost think you have to get wood. So I think you have to go potentially like 9-10, and then go down to the wood port, honestly. And then you could also build up to maybe 6-2. Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough position.
Yeah, I find that really awkward. That's why I was not really leaning towards the 5-6-9 as a pick here, but rather placing on the 5-6-11 or the 5-9-10, just because it has some better, combination spots. He's hovering over the 5. I don't think. Well, he could place on 5-8 with the 3-for-1 port as well. It's not really common to place on a 2-hex spot with the 5th settlement, but could go down. Okay, so 4-3-11. Interesting. So he does want to get a bit of wheat, but this way, yeah, I don't know. He leaves open a lot of spots for his competitors. Like the 3-6-11 is left open, the 6-9-3 is left open. You do have the sheep's board in this way, so that's good. You'll have a lot of sheep and a lot of number diversity, so it could work. But you might be a bit dependent on the free rolling here. What are your thoughts?
I agree, Check. I think if you're looking at going to the sheep port versus the 3-for-1 port, I almost choose the 3-for-1 here. I don't think you're going to have enough sheep to make the sheep port worth it. And I honestly think having the other ore, especially for I think the number diversity of having 4 versus 11 and being able to trade in the ore 3-for-1 instead of the sheep. I think you're going to potentially have about the same number of sheep and ore if you settle on the 4. So I think the 3-for-1, although I don't like the 3-for-1 ore, it's a pretty valuable resource. And it's going to be a tough position for him. First, he has no wood and he has the strong brick. So that's going to be a challenge. He has very strong ore and little wheat. So, it's going to be a tough position, I think, but we'll see how it works out.
I could see Gum placing on the 6-9-2 instead of the 6-9-3. It's just 1 pip of production less, but that way you block out YoungNaijah from the 9-10-2 with his 8 settlement.
Yeah, I agree with that. I would 100% go 6-9-2 here and build to the either the 3-for-1 or if you want to double on the 6-3. That's where I would go. I think you have good enough road material. You start with the wood in hand, and you also have the 10. Yeah, that's a good placement by Gum there.
I would point upwards, I think, to get the 3-for-1 board here. Although maybe you want to. Yeah, I like your idea of pointing to the left because you have a really great brick, and if you also get on a 3, then you also have a really good wood production.
Well, I think what that also does is if you point down, you can look like you're going to the 6-3. But with the amount of wood and brick that Gray has, if Green gets a really good spot here where he has a strong or wheat sheep game, the way you beat or wheat sheep players is to take their settlement spots. So what you could do is essentially cut down and block the 4-3 from Vamos, so that he doesn't have a settlement spot if he decides to go all or wheat sheep, right? So I think that's just another reason. And then you could always just settle on the 6-3, which I think is a good secondary spot. I think you're going to have plenty of options to get to a 3-for-1 later. And, just settling on the 3-for-1 at the top, you just get the 6. So at the end of the day, I think you still have the option to get to 3-for-1s later. So I would have gone down with the road, but I definitely understand building up to the 3-for-1. That's not a bad play. I'd like to play a little bit more aggressively against the or wheat sheep player in case he gets to a strong start and we have to take his settlement spots. Now he's having to build 2 roads if that happens.
Okay. Do you agree with this 6-11-12 over the 6-3-11? I think I like it personally because you'll have you're close to the coast, so you're less likely to be locked out of spots, which is really important for the Orby cheap player, like you mentioned. It's less production, and also you place on the 12, but I think overall this works. What do you think?
Yeah, I think if you place on the 6-3-11, you're trading 4-for-1 the whole game. You're not going to get to a port. um, or have a tough time getting to a port because you're not going to have any wood or any brick. So, building 2 roads to get to the 3 wood over to the left-hand side of the board is going to be tough unless you pull a road build. And I think, settling on the 6-11-12 versus the 6-3-11, I think if you go the 6-3-11, you just have so much wheat. And I think here, this also gives you 2 points of sheep so that you're able to play the depth card game with two sheep spots and 3 wheat spots. So your 9, if I'm the other players in the game right now, if I'm trying to target Vamos, for purposes of blocking him, the 9 is going to be a spot that is targeted pretty strongly.
Okay. I find this move interesting by YoungNaijah. I expected him to place on the 2-5-10 and point towards 5-8, but he actually placed on 5-8. He might point down towards the 8-4 here and raise Gum towards that spot. What do you think of that idea?
Yeah, I think he starts with the road, so he would have a little bit of advantage. But again, when you look at the 8, they share the 8, and I think you're looking also at Gray just having such stronger wood with the 10 and the 2. I think racing him to that spot is a risk. I think what he was trying to do is to get to to start with a 3-for-1 port that gives him all the resources but ore, and then he can settle on the 5-2-10 instead of the reverse of that, where he starts on 5-2-10 and builds to the 3-for-1. So I think here, this way, it gives him the brick. It gives him a strong brick to potentially settle back into that versus the other way around.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think it's also the right move, mainly because I expect Gray to win that race if it comes down to it.
I agree.
There's also one really interesting spot left in the middle of the board, and that's the 3-6-11. You already expected it would be left open. And that is what I would like to mention about Farmers Cosmos is 6-11-12, big as well. I think it's really good because otherwise I could see YoungNaijah placing there to point towards the 9 ore with the weak board. I could see him definitely do that. But now it doesn't make sense for him to do that anymore. So we have the first 7 by Cytmike. Do you typically go on to rob the leader at the start, or do you try to steal a card in this situation?
Well, if I'm Mike in this situation, I don't have wood. And so I think it's highly important for him to get wood. And I know the 10 just rolled, so I know Gum has wood in hand. I would be looking to potentially block the 9 because it blocks Vamos' ore spot for purposes of depth card games. And it also blocks Gray, who I want to rob for wood. So that's what I would be looking to do right now. But
okay, he's gonna go with the 8 brick instead. So let's see. He can't pick up wood from YoungNaijah, so he has a brick and a sheep in his hand. Okay, he steals from Gum, so he is trying to look for the wood here. So let's see if he is able to do something with it. No, it doesn't seem like he got the wood here. So YoungNaijah also immediately rolls a 7 to get himself unblocked. He could place it on a 9 ore. I expect he will do so. Maybe he's looking for a specific resource here.
So YoungNaijah is looking for ore. He doesn't have ore that he produces naturally. Could be potentially looking for an ore. I don't know that he potentially needs it right now, but he may also look at Gray a little bit of a threat because, Gray built the road up to the top, which goes to the brickport. If Gray extends one more road and settles on the 5-2 instead, then that potentially takes the settlement spot away from YoungNaijah at the 5-2-10. So I think if he's risking that, I would also rob Gray here. Yeah, just to make sure that you keep his cards down, but you also block Vamos. So a lot of 7s here like early in the game. Yeah, a lot of 7s.
Yeah, apparently.
So if you're Vamos here, who do you rob, Trek? Or where do you block, or where's sort of the threat position for you here?
I think the 8 brick is just put it back there. I think you do want to target a high producing spot, and a brick, especially at the early game, the brick and the wood blocks are pretty effective. Like later on in the game, you only got to block or wheat, and in some cases you need to block sheep. But at the start of the game, wood and brick blocks are really effective. So I expect it to be on 8 brick. But it could also be the case that he wants to target someone who might also get largest army later on in the game. Or he could try to steal a wood or a brick. So in that case, YoungNaijah might be an interesting player to steal from, because he has a brick for sure. He stole also a card from Gum, so he might have that wood.
Yeah, I think if I'm Vamos in this position, okay, yeah, he blocks the 3. Okay, so I think what Vamos is trying to do here, and maybe I'm wrong, is if Vamos is able to choke off all the wheat from the board, then the wheat that he has in hand is more valuable for trades for wood and brick, right? So even though the 3 is a low producing number, if he's able to block the wheat spots on the board, then he can trade his strong wheat for things like wood and things like brick. So I think it's actually a really good play, although it's not necessarily a high producing spot, to choke off the wheat so that he's the only one with wheat, and he can then demand a pretty high value for the wheat in his hand.
Yeah, completely agree. And we also got to look at how important is this wheat spot for these players. Like, there is a lot less wheat on this 3 wheat is their only wheat source. So it blocks them from getting development cards, which is actually Gum now did because he rolled a 7, and he was able to complete his development card by stealing. Ooh, and 4 actually rolled just after it was blocked.
Yeah, it's amazing how often that happens in Catan, doesn't it? Especially in Catan Universe here. We kind of joke that if you have the knight and you really need a number to roll, you block the number of the person who has it. And so like if I had like a 6 brick and I wanted the brick to roll, I would be blocking the 6 sheep right now, because it just magically happens so often. But we know that it's a random dice roll, but it's just the amount of times it does happen is fairly high.
Okay. So yeah, another 6. So we do see the 6 roll. Puts out a bunch of sheep in this game. What is important here, like if the 6 rolls, so much sheep is gonna be put in the game. So if we see monopolies later on in the game, I would expect them to be on sheep if a bunch of 6s roll in a row. So we also see a 9. It's a 10. I assume it's a 10. I can't see it completely.
What resources went out? Yes, I can't see wood, the dice sheep, either.
Yeah. Okay,
that's another 6.
Now we do see 6. Yeah. So YoungNaijah didn't pick up any cards since he was last stolen from. He doesn't have the options here. Ooh, Famous Cosmos needs to hand in his cards here. I think he tossed away only sheep, so that tells us the sheep had rolled at least twice, and he's blocking the wheat again. He picked up a wheat last time and now picks up an ore.
Yeah, buys the dev card. Yeah, I also think it's important for Vamos to block gray, because red has no wheat, so gray is going to be his army competition. Even with the 3, right? So gray has the 6 sheep, has the 9 ore, and the 3. So I think that's the reason that Vamos is also blocking the 3, because red doesn't have a great wheat there at the 3 either. So if he's able to just take the wheat off the board, that also limits their dev card purchases. And so that also helps Vamos to essentially secure army later down the road.
Yeah, because the rule is if you're going for one of the 2 win conditions, like largest army or longest road, you try to steal from your opponents who are also pursuing the same win condition. Or win bonus is maybe a better word for it. Yeah. So we do see the 5. So that's the coordinated roll for YoungNaijah. And so that's a really interesting position that he has. Like every time the 5 rolls, he gets a road. The difficult thing for him as a road player is that his settlements are pretty unlikely to connect. Like, unless he gets the 6 to 11 somehow by building, but we'll have to see a lot of 5s for that to happen.
Yeah, I also just noticed the coordinated 5s there. That is definitely a great role for YoungNaijah. I think Naijah has quite a potential for road because, again, if you look down the right side, I don't know that Gray's going to be fighting for that spot. I don't know that Red is going to be. Red essentially may go to the 3-for-1, but I think to your point earlier, Red may potentially build down to the sheep port instead. So if he's able to kind of go through and build down the right side, he can then loop around the top of the 5 as well. Or he could also build to the left side and block Vamos' spots a little bit, and then he has a lot more room to run out there. So be interesting to see which direction Naijah chooses to go here.
Yeah, and we see Cytmike going for that 6-3-11 spot early on. I like it. It's a really high producing spot, and he actually gets the second road. Wow, okay, so very close to settling there, only needs 4 more resources, and we do see the 7 roll from YoungNaijah. So what cards does he lack? I believe he has sheep. He picked up wood brick from the last time, so I think he needs a wheat to settle. So where can he get a wheat? We know Red doesn't. I believe young Farmers Cosmos still has a lot of wheat. Okay, he's actually stealing from Gum here. So let's see if he was able to get it. Doesn't seem like it.
He may have been talking through a trade with Vamos on the chat that says, hey, if you well, he ended up blocking him anyway. But sometimes what people will do in that case is they block the other person and just trade for the resource to not get blocked. So I think I would have tried to take from Vamos there because Vamos probably has the largest portion of wheat. So I don't know. Yeah, maybe he just didn't think Vamos had any in hand. So.
Okay, let's try to steal I would try to steal from YoungNaijah here if I were being Vamos, unless he's trying to go for a city right away. Otherwise, like, you want to get those wood brick to be able to do roads, and we know YoungNaijah has a lot of them. So we see the 3 rolling, which has been rolling pretty well so far.
Yeah, the 3s are not great for Vamos because that's the wheat that he's trying to block for the most part, and so the more 3s that roll when that's not blocked is not great news for Vamos. Or I'm sure he doesn't like the 3 rolling. So yeah, and I do think Naijah's missing the wheat, but I also think he could have tried to been to rob Gray in that case to potentially 3-for-1 because he has the 3-for-1 port. So maybe he was looking for like a resource like sheep, and Gray has the 6 at the top, and the 6 is rolled a couple of times that he could 3-for-1 for the wheat and essentially settle. That may have been something he was looking to do.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I saw real quick from the dice stats that the 9 didn't roll at all, so I don't expect Farmers to be able to city up real quickly. There's the 7. Seems like Farmers Cosmos needs to discard his hand as well again.
Vamos only has 4, I think.
4, okay.
Or did he?
Yeah, I can't see it.
Yeah, so I see Vamos only has 4 cards in hand. So on this 7 here, he should be safe. Yeah, I think if I'm Naijah here, I'm still blocking the 9. We know the 6 just rolled, so we know that Gum has sheep in hand. If the 8s have also rolled, I haven't really been keeping the dice stats that were great. But I know the 6 has rolled a couple of times, so he blocks.
Gotcha. Okay, so yeah, now I'm able to see Farmers' cards. Thank you, Bartek. Okay, so YoungNaijah is now looking to get its settlement, and I have a good impression that he will be able to do so by either 3-for-1ing or making a trade for the wheat here. Did you see real quick what he stole from Cytmike?
I did not see what he stole. I did see that he robbed red, but I didn't see. Are you able to see the card that he actually takes?
Lately, I have been able to see that. So he's offering wood brick for sheep wheat. So potentially he's offering this to Farmers Cosmos. Okay,
Yep, still
so
not
no
able to
trade
get that.
of it. Wow.
And one thing here that Naijah's holding with 7 cards in hand. So that tells me that one of two things: either he's completely stuck, or he's trying to hold the 3-for-1 to get the settlement down. So luckily, he didn't get a card on that last rotation and put him at 8 and then 7 out. So hopefully he gets some cards in these next 2 rotations and is able to 3-for-1 and get the settlement down.
Yeah, so we know there's so much sheep in this game because Gum now also threw away 4 sheep. He is looking to settle on the brick board. Do you like him trying to settle on the brick board over the 3-for-1 board in this case?
Yeah, I'm kind of indifferent on that. I don't think the brick port's going to help him too much. He has the 8, but at the end of the day, I think the 3-for-1 may be just as good of a play because you're getting the double 6, and if the 6s roll, you're getting, pretty much 2 6s. You get a card and an extra card of your choice. I don't know that the 2 is really going to help him, other than just being another wood spot. So yeah, I almost think he's going that direction with the idea that if he gets enough wood and he gets enough brick, that he just goes straight and settles at the 5-2. Maybe I'm wrong there, and he's trying to just settle on the brick port, and he thinks there's a little bit of value on the brick port when he's able to essentially get to the 8-4 spot. But I think if I were Gray and I was trying to, do that, then I would essentially try to get to the 5-2 spot and block the settlement spot of Naijah. Now, we did see a good trade. Again, one of the things that we talked about with Naijah is the fact that he's a very good trader. So we just saw that Naijah got the trade there. I think he also got 2-for-1. So just, again, knowing that he's trying to settle there and getting the extra card, all that is very valuable and much overlooked in this game of how good Naijah is at that.
Yeah, exactly. And he was also able to get the wheat, so we will see him being able to settle on the 5-10-2 here. Unless he has different plans by doing a road settlement.
Yeah, and I also think,
the 2 pays off immediately.
2 paying dividends. I think what Naijah did there is, one, he probably had a conversation with Gum to not build the extra road and settle there. I think he was probably talking to him and saying, hey, I'll make this trade with you, understanding that you're going to settle just on the brick port at the 2 and not the 5-2. Because if he's trading him there and he does have in hand to actually road settle on the 5-2, that takes away the settlement spot. So that may have been some discussion that was taking place there.
Yeah, so being Farmers Cosmos, who would you block here?
So Naijah's at 3 with a 3-for-1, has very strong wood and brick spots. The 7 rolled. What was rolled before this? Did you see?
No, I can't see.
Yeah, well, the reason I'm asking. Sorry, Trick. I was gonna say the reason I'm asking is because, if he's looking for wood and brick in like a 2 rolled, for example. So he's asking Mike here, can you do any card? Because otherwise he knows the 2's rolled, and he knows Mike has a 50% chance of wood. So if he's looking to actually
100.
move out a little bit. Oh, so did the 2 roll twice?
No, he gets 2 cards from the 2 now by settling on the brick board.
Oh, sorry.
So
I was looking at.
Yeah, gotcha. So yeah, I would. Yeah, okay. So I would block both players here. So okay, yeah, he's gonna go with the same plan of making his wheat more valuable. Actually steals from Cytmike. Interesting. So maybe he made the trade with Gum to get the wood somehow? Doesn't seem like it. Or maybe he was looking to get the development card instead. Huh. I don't expect this trade to go down because sheep hasn't been very rare throughout this game. So yeah. very surprised to see that he didn't steal from Gum here, trying to take it wood. Okay, you see the 5 rule.
I think. Yeah, so when I was looking at Gum, I was looking at Mike's card, so I was thinking he had a 50% shot, but he rolled a 2, so he had only 2 wood in hand. I think the concern for Vamos is that if he gets the wood, he doesn't have the brick, so I think he would want to get 1 before he just robs and just builds a road. Otherwise, he's getting a wood and holding it, and potentially gets robbed for it later. So that may be the thought process there.
Ooh, YoungNaijah is offering the wood brick combination. So let's see if he's able to get something for it. He is on 11 cards though, so typically I'm very hesitant trading with someone who has a lot of wood brick when they are on 11 cards. Because if they have a good wood brick production, you never know what they're gonna do. They could just simply build 5 roads and cut off spots you couldn't hold for imaginable. On the other hand, you kind of may want to get a 2-for-1 here, so that would be interesting. I don't think YoungNaijah will give away a 2-for-1 just as easy. Maybe he could get an ore somehow. I think that's his plan. Okay, so it seems like...
I know he has at least the 5 rolled twice, so he has two roads in hand. Okay, let's see what he's got. That's what I was going to say. I think he's going down and settling. Yep, that's what I would have done as well. So again, we see, just those 5s rolling, being able to, build road, settle. That would have been the concern I would have when I was making that trade there, is that he's going to go to the 8-4. And then with him at the 8-4, I think that gives him a great chance for a road. He's doubled on the 8. He's got doubled 5s and link 5s. So he's got a tremendous amount of wood and brick for road, and now he's got the link 4s as well for potential cities. So he's in a really great spot. I think if I'm looking at the board here of who I think is the biggest threat, I think Naijah right now 100% is the biggest threat in the game.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Yeah, absolutely. And I also think Farmers Cosmos did a good move by getting that 2-for-1 trade here for the wood brick. And that also, like, his strategy was make your wheat more valuable, and he was able to say, like, hey, the other players don't have wheat, so if you want this trade, you got to do it with me, and you got to do it with my terms. So yeah, that really worked out, and I'm really curious to see if Farmers Cosmos is able to make some production moves sooner. If he gets on the 9-12, he has 2 ore spots, 2 sheep spots, and 3 wheat spots. So that makes it very difficult to block him if he gets it.
Yeah. Get the city down. So yeah,
Wow.
the 4s roll. So again, Mike getting the city down, that's going to be pretty solid spot in that 6-5.
Yeah, and especially
9.
with... Exactly. And also, if Mike is able to get his settlement on the 3-6-11, he will have a bunch of really strong settlement spots, and one of them being the 5-6-9 city though. I think that will be... Well, if he gets the settlement down, he definitely takes the lead over from YoungNaijah, in my opinion.
I would disagree. I honestly think Naijah is in a super strong position right now, especially with 2 4s rolling. So Naijah has 2 ore and 2 wheat in hand right now. So like, it's only going to be a matter of time with Naijah at 7 cards. We know that he has 2 ore, 2 wheat, and if he has 3 brick or 3 wood, he's going to get the city down right now, and he cities, and that's just So. He has city in hand right now. So and again, if he's able to city a certain spot, he's just going to offer everything in his hand. Okay. So he definitely has city in hand right now for sure. Or at least I'm
the question
fairly
is,
strong.
does he want to go with it? So
If you have
I think,
where do you go? If you have city in hand, where do you go?
8-5-4, just to get the most production going, and you also have the 3-for-1 port, so and also doubling up that wheat. I think it's very valuable. normally get your cities on the ore is really strong, but on this board I'd say the wheat is more valuable. So he's offering a road again. I don't think anyone can accept this trade, but if they know how close YoungNaijah is to getting that city, and I think they know, they just see when the 4 rolls, they are going an ore and a wheat to his hand. So yeah, that's. Oh
Wow.
wow!
So he's
Actually,
getting
wow,
trade.
a clean city now. It might be worth it even for Cytmike if he gets the settlement on the 3611, but like this block is gonna go on YoungNaijah now, that's for sure.
I think it has to. The question is, where do you block him? um,
Yeah, that's the difficult part. He made it so his game is very difficult to block. Could go with 4 ore, but what is his next goal?
so
Like
he's at, let's see, 3, 4, 5, and he has road potentially. So he's at 7. So his path to victory could be settlement on the 3, 4, and then if the 4s hit. So this is why I was asking where you put the city, because I think he's going to need another city to go out, right? So if I put it on the 4, 8, then I get a card of my choice on the 8, and then the 4s are linked. So you diversify yourself a little bit for the win condition. I think I don't disagree with putting it on the 8, 5, 4 for production purposes, but like if you look at where he is, if he puts it on the 8, 4, he gets any card of choice on an 8. He also gets 2 4s and it's a city, right? Because he gets the double ore.
yeah.
And so, yeah, if these 4s keep rolling, this is going to be a really quick game.
Yeah.
So
On the other hand, I really like placing it on the 8-5-4 because if you place it on the 8-4, that 8 brick becomes a big blocking target, just as the 4 ore. Now in this case, Farmer's Cosmos blocked the 5 brick, effectively making it difficult for more difficult for red than for YoungNaijah now. So
yeah,
yeah,
and
I would actually
sorry,
think the other way around here.
yeah, sorry, Trey. I was gonna say, and the reason I would do that is because I actually want the 8 to be a target, right? Because at the end of the day,
Okay.
Naijah has the 5. So if I'm able to block the 8, then the 4s stay unblocked, and then 2 4s give me the city, and then you're able to city up to it eventually, and it makes the 8 look much more threatening when he has another brick spot already. Whereas if he cities the 8-5-4, which he did, which again is not a bad play, I think at this point your 4 becomes such a strong target because that's your only weak spot. Whereas if you city the 8-4, they're more likely to block the 8 instead of the 4 because the 8 is any card of your choice. And then you have a little bit more options on kind of going either city, and then you still have your road options with the link 5s. But
Okay.
again, I don't think it's
Yeah.
bad. I just think it's a different way of doing it, right? But I don't disagree with city in either place. But yeah, so
Okay. Yeah, interesting. I hadn't looked at it as way that you typically want people to place it on the 8. Yeah, so that's really interesting. So if I'm not mistaken, it's Gum's turn right now, and he is looking to settle on the 6. So he is offering a wood and trying to get 2 brick for it. I don't know who would accept that, but I think he's trying to get the brick maybe for a city then. He wants I mean that by he has the brick board, so then he is able to 2-for-1 it for ore and get a city that way.
yeah,
I think he needs to get some more stuff done to get back into this game. So yeah, this move is not what he wanted. Ooh, the 12 for Fanos. So let's see if Cytmike is able to get the settlement down on the 6-3-11. Looking for wheat.
the 3 just rolled, so I think he already has the wheat. unless he got stolen from. The 3 rolled two turns ago. So I think he's missing the brick, right? Or no? He's asking for wheat. So, but I thought the 3 rolled, so I think he has wheat. Could he potentially be sitting here?
Did the 9 roll? I don't know if the 9 has rolled. I know the 4 has rolled recently, so maybe he does have the city material. Okay.
I think he's trying to sit because I think the 3. I'm almost 100% sure the 3 rolled. So I know he has at least 1 wheat in hand. If the 9 or 4, I thought the 4 rolled because NaijJah got 2 cards on that as well. Because I think I said if the 4s keep rolling, this game's going to be pretty quick. So I know the 4 also rolled. So I really think he's trying to city here. And if he's able to get a city on the 2-4-11, that puts him in contention. But again, I think we are at the point with NaijJah being so strong right now that unless they're able to just target him, that this is going to be a pretty quick game. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. But I think Mike's trying to city for sure.
Okay. Yeah, like the reason why I thought he was going to do a settlement was because he has that trade from last turn with YoungNaijah where he got the wood and a brick. So if the wheat has rolled, I can't imagine him not having sheep with that 6 and 11. So maybe he's just trying to make trades to get the city instead of the settlement. But
that's what I'm thinking.
Okay. Gets the 2-for-1. So okay, actually get wow. Okay. So something happened we are not aware of. So there's the 4. And is that the second city for YoungNaijah?
He has 2 ore and 2 wheat, or he has 2 ore and 4 wheat in hand for sure. So again, this is the reason I would have cityed the 8-4 because again, 2 4s gives you the city, right? So now he may have it anyway. Well, he's finding a dev card. So I think he was maybe one ore short.
Yeah, maybe even the development card is better here than a city because if you get a NaijJah, you will be able to protect yourself from getting the robber on you all the time. And maybe you're still even to get army and longest road because none of the other players has gotten more than 1 knight activated yet.
Yeah, I agree with the play here for NaijJah just to buy a dev card. He's going to get robbed any 7 or any 7 that's rolled from now on. So this gives him a little bit of protection to protect the resources that he has. I think putting a city down just makes him even more of a target. But this way, he's able to protect himself a little bit. But even if he is just going to get the dev card and it's a victory point, then he's sitting at 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for road 8, and then all he would need to do is just settle out, right? He wouldn't have to city again. So there's not really a bad dev card for him in the deck. A Year of Plenty helps him as well. A road build potentially can help him as well. So there's not a bad dev card in the deck for him right now, so I don't disagree with taking a dev card there.
Yeah, and also victory point. If he gets a victory point, that means he needs 1 city to get the win, to get to 10 victory points if he takes the longest road and just build settlements. Like, cities are the most difficult thing for him. Well, at least if the 4s don't roll as much as they have done so far, which could definitely happen. So yeah, that I completely agree with that. The 9 rolled, so that will bring some interesting turns here from Gum and Cytmike. And also Farmers Cosmos, who got the ore from that trade last turn, so he might be able to get something on the board as well. So wood for a brick. I think this is a really good deal because both of these players need to trade with each other to get to the level where YoungNaijah is on right now. And I think this is a trade that helps them both. So the wheat for 2 brick, and he picked up 2 ore, so no, he picked up 1 ore, so from the 9 roll. So let's see if that indeed means he is going to city up here. if you would city up, okay, it's no city up, it's a development card. So let's move on to Red's turn. So he did get 2 ore.
Yeah, with the 9, he got 2 ore. I think if I'm at the table right now, I'm talking to someone about taking road, because again, Naijah could be at the point where if that's a victory point, he settles and then just takes road for the win. I think someone has to compete with him for road, and I don't know who it is, but obviously Vamos should be competing for army. So even though he's only at 1 dev card with an army played right now, I still think road is such an easier win condition for Naijah. Although army, again, if he's able just to get 4s and 8s just by dev cards, he could potentially beat Vamos to the army race. So he has so many win conditions right now. So yeah, I think someone has to take one of those 2 win conditions away from him, so that he doesn't have so much options, and you can begin to target him a little bit better of how you would block him.
Completely agree with that. So he blocks the 9 ore just to prevent some quick cities from Cytmike if the 9 starts to roll a little bit more. And I believe he saw the 4 rolling again, if I'm not mistaken. Or was it the 3? Well, at least I saw a bunch of wheat.
It was the 3. The 3 went out because I got 2 wheat on that, so I was fairly certain that it was the wheat. And
Vamos. You're plenty. Vamos. This is a settlement.
Yep,
settlement
this is
with
settlement.
5 cards left, so settlement city. He still has 4. No, it seems like he's going to end his turn. No, okay. So that's a really important settlement for Famous Cosmos. Your plenty will help him a lot as he doesn't gain wood and brick. And now he's able to settle on the 9-12 and the wheat board. And the wheat is really fantastic for him because he's the player who has the most of it.
Yep. So now any 4 is a card of choice, any 11 is a card of choice, any 12 is a card of choice. So that's a lot of options for that wheat port. So that's definitely a good settlement for Vamos there. Again, the challenge with the wheat port here particularly is that Vamos's win condition is no doubtably army. And so you're trading in wheat for other resources that you need to potentially buy dev cards. So that's the only downside of that. But be interested to see how we move forward here, because I think Vamos has to start contending for the army so that Naijah doesn't sneak that and road and just wins the game.
Completely agreed with that. I think Red is the player who has the best shot at making the longest road race at least as difficult as possible for YoungNaijah. So let's see if he also recognizes this possibility. We'll have to keep a close eye on what cards he discards here. So it seems like 1 brick and 3 sheep. So yeah, that could indicate that he is looking to take the road, but I think his next goal will try to be get a settlement on a 9-10 instead.
Where do you block here if you're red? I know that you're probably blocking blue, but where do you block him? I think I would block the 8 sheep.
The 8 sheep. I think if your goal is to take army, I would block wood and brick still. If you're trying to go for road, then I would stop him from getting roads. I think that is better than sheep here. But I agree with you. If he gets more sheep, then he gets more development cards. But that could be a good thing for you, as you might be able to get road if he is trying to get army. So another city by Cytmike. Wow, that is a really key city, especially on the 6-3-11 with the rare wheat. And we do see the 11 rolling right at the bat. So there's a 5 and more roads for YoungNaijah. Two roads to be exact. Farmer's Cosmos can also city up.
And buys death card. Yep.
Wow, what a turn. But does it really matter? Like if you get a development card first, is there any way you would get a development card first over getting a city in this scenario?
No, I think if you're playing the city, it doesn't really matter. I think, however, if you are playing a settlement or trading in for something or trying to build a road, then it's better to buy the dev card first. Like, so for example, if Vamos was going to put a road down to the settlement and he had also a development card in hand, I would buy the dev card first, because then if he gets road building, he doesn't have to waste those resources to build the road. But if you're building the city and you have the city in hand, I don't think there's much of a difference there. But it is very much of a difference if you're building settlements and things like that.
Okay, gotcha. So Gum is actually the player taking care of that YoungNaijah doesn't get the army by having activated 2 knights already, and also getting the city down on the 8-10-3 here. Interesting choice to go for the 8-10-3 over the 6-9-2. I think the reason for this is the brick board. By getting some more brick, he might be able to trade some in for wheat and being able to maintain the largest army race.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see what Naijah does on his turn here, because, definitely Gray is starting to come up a little bit. Mike is also starting to come up a little bit. I still think Naijah's in the best position, but, if Gum is able to take army, that gives him 3, 4, 5, 7 as well. And also Mike, if he's able to connect for road, that gives him 4, 5, 7 as well, and a settlement spot. And so Mike can have a pretty big turn right here, depending on what he has in hand. That could limit, again, this is what we were talking about, limiting Naijah win condition for right now. So we see that Gum started to take army, and we'll see if Mike starts to take road to potentially do that. But Naijah has 9 cards. Oh, that's a terrible 7. Oh, that's a terrible 7 for him. Could have had a pretty big turn there, I think, with 9 cards in hand.
Yeah, so I think this turn of events makes it so that Red is the new leader in my eyes, especially because he has these settlements closer to each other, so he will be able to connect. I was favoring YoungNaijah before to take the longest road for sure, but I think this will actually become a really interesting turn of game in terms of who is going to take longest road. Army will be really interesting as well, as Gray has the lead in it right now, but I expect Farmer's Cosmos to be able to take it in the end. So YoungNaijah does get the road down just to get some cards out, and we also know what his next goal is, doubling up on the 4. And we did see the 4 roll, so this could be another strong move here. So what does Farmer's Cosmos have? He has sheep. He has at least 2 wheat. Has the 4 rolled. I believe the 11 rolled in this orbit as well. I believe he still has those wheats.
The 11 did roll. I want to say it was almost a turn ago, though. He may still have some.
That could be very true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise,
it looks like
also wouldn't make sense for him to offer sheep here. Although he might be looking to 2-for-1 wheat and do something else with it. So doesn't seem like he gets any offers. Okay.
Yeah, so the 11 roll, which means he's got some sheep too then, if that's the case. Looks like he has a knight in hand. I don't think he wants to move it, though, because it's on the 9, which he may think Mike's a big threat now too. It's only blocking his ore, but he also has the 9 on the other side. So that block out of the 9 with the city and settlement for Red is much bigger than Vamos, because Vamos has the 9 on the other side. So I think he has a knight in hand and just chose not to play that, because of the robber being in such a good position right now. Again, we see another 4. Those link 4s are so dangerous for Naijah because he's got to be close to a city now. He has 2 ore, 2 wheat in hand. He gets the 5 as well. So now he has 2 wood in hand. He definitely has city in hand.
It seems like red doesn't have a knight. Otherwise, I assume he would unblock the 9 ore here. The 5 rolled, like you said, the 4 rolled. So this is going to be a key moment for YoungNaijah. Even if the 7 rolls, he will still have a really strong turn. But with 14 cards in hand, this will be huge. Let's see what Cytmike is able to do with this 8 cards. If he connects, then he'll be on 8 victory points. If this is not a knight, it could be a victory point. So 2 roads might put him on 9 and still have 4 cards available to win the game.
Yeah, we see that Mike didn't move the knight. So again, he's 2, 4, 5, 6. He's now at 7 with a dev card, which we think is potentially a VP because I would have monoed there. So I think Naijah potentially goes to 9 or potentially wins here because if he cities, that gives him, he's fairly close because he has the 10 rolls.
Right now. 7 right now with the army, longest road.
Yeah, so he cities at 8, he settles at 9 on the other side, and if he has enough to road settle, that's game, right? So if he cities on the 5-4 or the thing that gives him, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then he has road, which is 9, right?
That's exactly 15 cards. So yeah, I don't think that will happen, but it could be with a victory point from the deck. Okay, so that's a city on the 2, 5, 10. So that seems like he's very invested into taking longest road. I think it would be a good move to just exactly like what he's doing now, cut off Cytmike, really taking road and really do it with like a lot of determination. And also preventing a settlement spot from Cytmike by blocking the sheep board. Okay, so we see Cosmos using his wheat board. Oh, he actually buys a development card here. So he wants to make sure he takes army. He has 5 points right now with 3 development cards. He might play a card here just to if he has multiple playable development cards, he might play a development card here just because he can only activate 1 development card per turn. So okay, doesn't seem like he's going to do that. Yeah, exactly. Ooh, actually steals from Cytmike here. Interesting. So I think that kind of confirms that Cosmos believes Cytmike is on 7 or 8 victory points with that victory point. And he'd still be 5 roads away from winning, I believe. So, or maybe 3, 7.
Yeah,
4 roads. Okay.
5, 6, 7, 8. So Naijah's at 8. So if he connects 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I don't know if I agree with blocking Cytmike there. And I'll tell you why. Because Naijah has road pretty much locked up, right? So, and Cytmike can really only city 1 more time. So that puts him at 9. And I think Naijah, now that he's locked road, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He has 10 cards in hand. He may just settle, and be done. So I think Naijah's win condition here is much quicker than Mike's, in my opinion. But I think, yes, Mike should be a threat as well. But all Naijah has to do is just settle, and the game is over.
Completely agreed.
So I would have robbed Naijah there.
Okay. I agree with that. But Farmers Cosmos, who won 5 games today, or at least last 2 days, doesn't agree. So he actually stole from Cytmike. And maybe he knows more than we do. Like if it is confirmed that this is a monopoly, which I personally don't expect it is, because like last turn was the perfect opportunity for a mono with YoungNaijah having 15 cards. Seems like there is some negotiation going on. They are probably trying to take road, combined effort, or maybe Cytmike is waiting for is like calculating what cards are in hand for a good monopoly. They gotta do something, because the risk of YoungNaijah doing double settlement is very big indeed. Especially if a 5 or 8 or 4 rolls.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm not sure what they're contemplating here, because if he had a monopoly, he missed the chance to do that. When Naijah had all those cards, and again, ended up building roads down there. So I think it is a VP, and if it's a VP, he's sitting at 6, 7, 8.
Okay, that's one settlement on the sheet board. So interesting. And we see the 4 rolls, so that's okay. Only wheat for ore is blocked. So let's see if Famous Cosmos does have a monopoly. This would be a good moment, because there are a lot of cards in the game. Gray has 9, red has 11.
Well, so he looks like he's 4 for 1 in here, so I don't think he does, else he would just monopolied. Right?
Yeah. Like if he does something like trading cards to other players and then monopoly, then I could get the indication it is a monopoly, but in this case, yeah, probably not. What would this indicate? If he tries to get wood, does that indicate he has a road builder or here plenty in hand and he wants to get road settlement?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm trying to look at the board. He keeps bringing the screen up, so I can't really see it.
Like that's what I'm getting from this deal. Otherwise, why would you be looking for wood at all? Okay, does absolutely nothing. Right. Oh, okay. No. I thought he passed his turn for a moment.
Yeah, I did as well. It just said it's still your turn. I thought he passed as well.
He's really heavily considering this option. Okay, actually goes for ore. Really think it's good that he takes his time to value this decision. Like especially later on in the game, I typically make the mistake to go into these types of decisions way too fast. So it seems like he doesn't play 1. So with 2 development cards in hand, I get the indication that he has a victory point. Otherwise, it would make sense for him not to play anything right now with 2 playable death cards and YoungNaijah being so close to winning. Oh, that's the 7 if I'm not mistaken.
That is a 7. Yep.
So red and especially red is getting punished for going with so many cards in. And well, basically not doing much on his turn. And there's also like the risk of having no boards available. Like later on in the game, it's really difficult to have that flexibility, especially if you're getting blocked. Like the players will strategically block your spot, so you'll have to 4 for 1 every single time you need to get that specific card again. So that's the upside YoungNaijah has over Cytmike, in my opinion, and also the wood gain that really helps with being able to take down longest road. I don't think Cytmike is able to take longest road, even with the help from others.
Yeah, and I don't know that they want to give it to him, because it's 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. So he would be at 9 at that point.
Yeah.
And if that development card that development card's a VP, then that's game. So I don't think they're going to feed him road, because I think we saw last time when the robber was on the 9, he chose not to use the development card. So I'm assuming it's either a mono or VP, leaning more towards VP because he had the chance to mono. So if that's a VP, he's sitting at 8 points. Giving him road gives him game. So I think the road is fairly safe with Naijah right now. So if that's the case, you have to think that Naijah has to get blocked here because they're not going to feed red road. Gray's not going to be able to take it. Vamos has no wood or brick. So no one's really a threat to take road from Naijah right now. And with Naijah at 9, and a settlement spot open, to me, you have to block him here. And I think they're just trying to figure out what he's missing. I don't really agree with the foul.
We know for sure that he has weed because the 4 rolled. I don't know how to really stop him. Okay, like a bunch of 7s will slow him down at least. So would you? Yep. No, probably not back on the 4. Yeah, okay. So now gets it on the 5. So we'll see if he has it or is able to get it with his next roll. And I'm also curious what Cytmike is going to do here. Maybe he was able to steal a wood from him, so maybe with some combined efforts is able to at least threaten for the road. So that maybe if YoungNaijah doesn't have the win this turn, that he needs to build some roads, which will slow him down for the turn later on. And if he doesn't, then you'll be able to take road on the turn after this.
Yeah, I mean, if he's able to take wood from him, that's potential. I think if we know Naijah has wood and brick in hand, at the end of the day, he can just build another road, and all we're just delaying him settling on the 8 or port. So I'm not too concerned. I think if I'm Mike here and I have a choice to try to connect for road or to draw a dev card or city, for example, I'm drawing a dev card and citying rather than trying to compete for road. I just don't think they're going to give Naijah road even with, that because the road gives Mike win. So I think they're going to potentially help Naijah if they needed it, even though that keeps him at 9 with a settlement spot. That's definitely not a game over. So I would have bought a dev card there, hope to maybe get a road build and see how that would potentially do something.
And agreed. Okay, so does he have it? No, he does not. Okay.
Yeah, I would have tried to do something there, to buy a dev card, do something. Although it's working out, if he gets a lot of cards in hand here, he might be able to do something. Looks like we saw Vamos has a road build and has a victory point.
Yeah. I think this is such a big risk that Mike is taking. Like, a development card helps you out really well right here. You mentioned, like road building or other stuff. And in other situations, Vamos Cosmos has 3 development cards. So how likely is it he doesn't have a monopoly? Reasonably likely, but it's like if it happens, there is no way you win anymore, and Vamos Cosmos is gonna be just as strong as YoungNaijah. Okay, so he is able to do 2 roads to cut YoungNaijah off to the 12 feet, limiting his road length a little bit.
There's
another 7.
Yep.
But that's 2 times in a row. That's a risk Cytmike took, and he gets punished for it severely. Unfortunate for him.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I would have, if possible, to try to trade or do something for a dev card there. Even if I have to fort for 1, maybe he's just trying to get the city down. But again, the city doesn't really help him, I think, other than just to get to 9. But that's a tough 7 roll. I think if he doesn't, if he's able to get back to his turn, he definitely has 3 or 5 or in hand right now. So he could have potentially done something, on that turn for sure.
Ooh, so 4 ore and 2 brick. Wow. So I think this spacing is also really good by Vamos Cosmos. He doesn't take army yet, making it seem like he doesn't have it secured, but we all know there's 5 victory points on the board, and there's 2 in hand. Like, there's 2 in hand with the other knight, and we also figured out he has a victory point, so that puts him on 8. And he has the settlement spot down, so he is quite close to it. YoungNaijah is, of course, in a way stronger spot, especially now the 4 rolled by Famous Cosmos. So
yeah, and I think we'll see Vamos take army now because Gum just drew another development card, and if he draws a knight, then Vamos has to play 2 knights to catch him. So I think Vamos now thinks that with Gum drawing a development card, he has to play knight next turn.
So really unlucky orbit by YoungNaijah, not rolling any number outside of the 4, and they were all stolen from him. Well, at least some cards are. So let's see if Cytmike... Go ahead.
I was going to say, Trey, do we think Naijah has win in hand, or does he need a roll?
I don't think he has the win in hand, because he didn't have it last turn, and I figured out he had wheat already, and this orbit he picked up ore and wheat. So he might be able to have it with a development card, but I don't think he has it with a city. I don't think the settlement plan has changed, so I think he needs to get a good roll to be able to win it.
Yeah, I think if he rolls the 8, the 8's the good roll, right? Because he gets the sheep and brick.
The 9. Ooh, that's not a good roll for YoungNaijah. So he might be able to do a development card here. No, I agree with this move. Like, it's way too good of a chance to pick up a settlement, and I don't really see any other player winning right now. Although Cytmike could be on 9 here.
Yeah, Cytmike, if he drew another development card, then if he has 2 development cards in hand that are victory points, he has win in hand right now. The 3 roll gave him the wheat, the 9 roll that gave him the city. So if he has 2 VPs, he wins the game right now if he doesn't 7 out. And even if he does 7 out, he still has city in hand. So if he drew a VP, then he's 1 play from winning right now.
Ooh, actually focuses on Cytmike here.
Yep, and so he still has 3 wheat in hand, so still has it.
So gets another development card. He is on 7. This may have been for the win, but we don't know his development cards. Outside of 1 victory point, the road building has been played, so this could be a really close game, but I don't know if Famos was able to do so. So you're saying Cytmike could win on his turn?
If Cytmike has 2 VPs, he has the ore in hand from the 9, and he has 3 wheat in hand from the 3. So if he has 2 VPs, he cities the 10-9 and the game's over.
Okay.
Which would be crazy with how well Naijah's setup was, but it's
but Gum still has his turn to go, so let's see if he is able to stop Cytmike here, and we know the 5 is rolled, so I believe YoungNaijah has a good chance of getting the settlement down on his turn as well. So I'm going to make the call that the game ends this orbit.
Yeah, so here's the interesting thing. If Cytmike didn't draw a VP, then there's a good chance no one's played a mono yet. So he potentially has mono in hand. Oh, that's deadly.
Wow.
But he still has city in hand. He still has city in hand because he has 10 cards. He has to discard 5, so he still has city in hand. He still could potentially win if he has, and that's actually really good because Naijah also has to discard. So
Red threw away 4 wheat and a brick, if I'm not mistaken, and YoungNaijah went with 2 wheat and 2 wood.
I think he threw away 4 brick and a wheat.
No, Cytmike threw away 4 wheat. I'm quite sure of that. Gets the city. Is this game? No, it's not. Okay, are we going to see that development card being played? If it's a mono, I don't think so. There's only 4 cards from your opponents in the game right now. So
If it's a knight, I play it. If it's a knight, I play it because Naijah could roll an 8, and that gives him 4 cards.
He has wood and he has wheat in hand for sure. So 8 wins YoungNaijah the game right now.
Yep.
So this is gonna be the 8 sheep, I believe, because he also has a sheep board.
Yeah, I would block the 8, and that's where I was saying I would block the 8 before. Oh wow, okay. He steals from Vamos.
So he actually thinks Vamos is closer. Okay, I would have definitely blocked 8 here. Just because Vamos only has 1 card in hand, so it's very unlikely. Okay, this 9 block works out perfectly for Cytmike, but he doesn't have any settlement spots left to city up, and of course no cities left. Vamos has 1 ore in his hand right now.
Yep, and 10 cards. Mike has 4 ore and 3 or
the 4.
The 4 ore, 3 4 ore, 4 wheat, and the 4 just rolled, so he has 6 ore now. 6 ore and 4 wheat, and 2 cards I'm just not sure of.
Okay. So let's see what he rolls next. So another 4, so 8 ore, 4 wheat. I think this is gonna go in development cards, or could maybe do 2 roads, but he has to 4 for 1 everything. So yeah, I would definitely try to get development cards here.
I go dev cards. Yep, I go dev cards. If he has a victory point in hand, all he needs is a VP, and he can buy at least 2 dev cards and potentially get the VP. I think there's 2 4s, so I think Naijah has city for the win. So I think you have to go for the win here. I think you have to pull dev cards for the win.
Oh, this will be so exciting. Okay, it seems like Cytmike hasn't made up his mind yet. Really curious to find out what his other cards are as well, like the 2 you haven't been able to figure out. I have no clue what they are either, but they maybe did. No, he threw away some brick, so I think there's still 1 brick. Oh,
so he plays
we go.
So he's going to pull the. Yeah, so he's held it the whole time. That's good for him. Good patience on his part to hold that. I think you mono ore here, right? Or he pulled 1 wood.
Okay. Yeah, he should have definitely pulled ore, right? Like if he has the city. Well, maybe this wood helps him take road? No.
Oh, wow. I think you could almost...
Okay, I think he completely blew this. Oh, that's really unfortunate for him.
I think you could even pull wheat because the 3 rolled, so you know, or the 9 rolled, so you know Vamos also has ore. And then you also know that the 4 rolled twice, so you know YoungNaijah has at least 2 ore in place. So yeah, he's got to go for road now, but I think the game is over. That's unfortunate. I think that's game.
That doesn't give him any cards, but 2 sheep for the ore, and that's game for YoungNaijah. Congratulations to YoungNaijah for winning this game, and I also think the other players did a really strong performance over this weekend. Like it's already unique. Okay, awesome. So we just heard we're gonna get an interview with YoungNaijah again. So really curious to think to hear what his thoughts were about this game. Yeah, so I'm still a bit shocked with that Monopoly. Like,
yeah, I'm shocked as well, Trek. I mean, one to hold it as long as he did. First of all, I thought was great patience. I think there were a number of times where I think either he's tracking incredibly well or potentially Naijah could have gone out. And for him not to play. And at one point, I think Naijah had at least a lot of wood and brick in hand. If he wanted to mono to try to expand for road there, that would have been his chance. Because if he monos the wood at the time, Naijah had like 15 cards in hand. He could compete for road there, and then he wins. Yeah, I'm shocked right now, Shrek. To be honest, wow. But yeah, great game by everybody. It was a close and exciting finish. That's all you can ask for in a final. You're not sure who's going to win, and it could be anybody. So that's all you can ask for. And congratulations to all the players for making it there. I know as commentators, sometimes we question what they're doing. We don't have a full picture of what's going on, and hopefully they understand it's not a criticism of their game. They all have their strategies, and they've made it to the final. So congratulations to all of them, and I think all their games should be respected for the accomplishment of making it to the final. That's not easy to do over the course of 2 days. So congratulations to all the players, and congratulations to YoungNaijah for his win.
Yeah, exactly. I completely second what you said. Really interested to hear what YoungNaijah thinks about his settlement placements, because that 5-8 placement was really surprising for me. And also, he could have gone multiple ways, and also the 8-5-4 was a great pick. It turns out. So yeah. Also think we knew about YoungNaijah and Farmers Cosmos that they are really, really strong players. So I am not surprised that these two players had a good shot of winning the game. I didn't know much about Cytmike and about John. Apparently, Cytmike was really close to winning as well, so that made it real.
Yeah,
good.
And I think it should be also commented. I think Cytmike in the Swiss didn't actually have a win. I think he qualified with just on how many points he had. Because I think the way that the Swiss worked out the first day, there were a couple of people that made quarterfinals that actually get a win, just because of the way the wins and the numbers worked out. So he actually didn't have a win during the Swiss play, and for him to come back from that, win the quarterfinals, win the semifinals, and then to be this close in the finals, that's such a great turnaround. So that's exciting for him, and to be so close there at the end. And so I didn't know much about him either, but I think should be respected for the way he played over the weekend.
Yeah, definitely. And it also means that in all his games, he gotten at least 8 victory points. Otherwise you can't make it in without a win in the Swiss. So I believe he got 8 in this game. I don't know if he was able to get the settlement down in this turn. So no, So that's really consistent. So that's really good to see. So what are your thoughts on the overall?
Go ahead, Trek.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you what your thoughts were about the overall tournament, how it all went, and what your expectations are for MS Open. Okay, sorry, Bartek, could you? Awesome. So, YoungNaijah, can you hear us? Hey,
yeah, I can hear you.
Congratulations. Awesome. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
And really well played. We commentated the game, and we saw went well. What were your thoughts on these last few turns when you were so close to winning each turn, and it just didn't happen until the end?
Yeah, so if I caught a 8 or a 5, pretty much any time I had 9, I would have won. I was debating pulling for it because my final hand when I got to 9 was 3 sheep, 1 wheat. But I looked at the odds, and I thought it's easier to save for a settlement.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it was very close.
Exactly. I was surprised to see your 5-8 and the 3-1 board pick. What were your thoughts when you made your second settlement placement?
Yeah. So wood is shockingly good on this board, and as everybody around me knows, woad is my favorite card. So like, especially the way that it operates on this board, red has no wood, but he has a lot of ore. So there's a lot of scenarios where he gets an influx of brick, and I can trade him wood for ore. It didn't happen because the woods rolled, and then Gray ended up trading him. But let's say like if I fell behind and I collected a lot of wood, I would be able to do something like that.
Cool.
So YoungNaijah, when you got your first city, I have a question on the choice to city the 8-4-5 versus the 8-4 in the corner. I don't disagree. Either one's a good play, but I thought, with sitting the 8-4, any four, like 2 4s gave you a city versus sitting the 8-4-5.
Yeah.
You would need 3 4s to get the city in that case, and 4s were just rolling off the charts. That also puts a lot of pressure on blocking the 8. Which I think you have the 5 to back up. So was there thought to giving the 8-4 the city versus the 8-4-5, or were you always content on the 8-4-5 as the city?
There was. So the reason I chose the 8-4-5 is just pure production. So with the 3-for-1,
Yep.
like 8-4-5 does a lot of damage. And then with the sheep, at that point in time, nobody had played knights yet. So it was like one knight for everyone. So I'm not out of contention for army. And with massive production, I can make army happen also. So that's why I chose the 8-4-5. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think even in that case, if you're sitting the 8-4, then you just need the one sheep, and you get the option to do both there. But yeah, I agree from the production standpoint. Let me ask you this question: when the mono card dropped at the end of the game, how fast was your heart beating to know what was going to get monoed?
It was beating like crazy, man. I was hoping he would call or actually, because that guaranteed me the win. I had 9 cards and exactly a settlement if he takes the or with the 3-for-1. So I can't 7 out. But he didn't call, and he called on wood, which was debatably, it's definitely worse. I think the right call there is wheat.
Yep.
So wheat was the only monopoly that would have stopped you from winning on that turn, without a 7, of course.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, sheep would have stopped me too, but yeah, sheep would have stopped me too, but
okay.
I don't think he would call.
So you had 3 sheep in your hand. Yeah.
Yeah, I had 2 sheep, 1 wood, 4 wheat, 2 ore.
Okay. Yeah. So in that way, that would have stopped you from getting. How do you do ore? So how does that work? That you have a guaranteed settlement? I don't follow. You got the sheep port, or did you get the ore port by placing there?
No. So if he called it on ore, I would have 1 wood, 2 sheep, 4 wheat. So I could 3-for-1 the wheat for a brick.
Right.
Right. And I have exactly 7 cards. Yeah.
So yeah. So yeah. Again, congratulations on this win. It was really well played. So yeah. And we've also seen your semi-final. It was really interesting to see you get back into the game. I'm looking forward to other games in the MSO tournament. Next week we'll host another Catan tournament, but instead of Settlers of Catan, we'll do cities and knights. So I'm really looking forward to it. I will host it, and you can find the sign up for all the tournaments on the MSO website, as well as the sign up for the cities and knights tournament. You'll also be able to find it in the King of Catan server. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to see you next week again. And I really hope you enjoyed the stream. Again, congratulations, YoungNaijah. Thank you for commentating with me, Yellow. And thank you all for watching.
Yeah, thanks, Trek, for doing it, and then definitely enjoyed the time we spent. And congratulations to YoungNaijah, and congratulations to everybody. Again, getting to the final is very hard. So congratulations to Vamos, to Cytmike, and to Gumbo as well. So thanks for tuning in. I enjoyed it, and hope everyone has a great rest of the day.